Hey guys, what's up? It's Dan Dobie. I made a film. It's called You Are My Person. We're about to watch it, and I'm going to put some director's commentary over it. I'm going to do my best to not hit pause, but it'll probably happen kind of often. I'll probably want to stop the movie and tell you some like fun little interesting facts about it. So, yeah, this was a big part of me. It's a big part of my life. This film took a while to make, and I put a lot of my heart, soul, and blood into it. Did I bleed during this? I probably did. Anyways, let's get started. I'm gonna hit play now. That's my name. That's the name of the film. So this shot was actually done at night. We had to pick this shot up. We actually missed doing it on the first day of filming, so we had to pick it back up. This is my bedroom that we're actually shooting in, and it's around like 11:45 at night.
Yeah.
The voice on the other line is actually me.
Yes.
I did the voiceover for it. If you really turn it up, you can hear it, but you probably won't be able to tell it's
can
me.
you just please run
Fun
the
little
card
tidbit.
on file and just run the card on file, and if there's ever a problem, then can you call me? Okay, I understand. Okay, yes. The answer is yes. Okay.
So again, this scene has nothing to do, was shot on a different day than this scene right here. This is on a different day. Movie magic. We shot this scene with two different cameras, but with this film, I kind of wanted to just have shots hold as long as possible to keep you in the moment, and I just love this shot of it starts as a close-up and backs its way out. We did this with a Steadicam, and we were pretty tight, and then we moved out, and on top of that, to make the movement more dynamic, I actually did a post. We were zoomed in at first in post, and then we zoomed out to make it look a little bit cooler.
You know I love you, right?
Yeah, I love you. You're my person.
You are my person.
This section I kind of chose to do completely MOS, so no sound at all. Just I wanted them to kind of like tell you who they were and have this like relationship together with just kind of just moments of just them hanging out and smiling and stuff, using their body language. This scene with the ping pong stuff, we did this one shot, one take. I literally had them play ping pong. I literally just said go, and we ran it for about 2 minutes, and then there were as soon as I heard of a good beat where I would want to cut, I just kind of said, cool, we're done. And Michelle and David, who were the actors in this, who played Brent and Chelsea, they were like, are you sure we can do it again? I'm like, no, perfect, I got it, I know where I want to cut. So as soon as I had that like beginning and end moment in my head, I was like, cool, we can move on. This shot right here, the whole look me in the eyes when you cheers.
Whoa, you have to look me in the eyes when you cheers.
That's something I just do, so I kind of just like wrote that in here. This shot, I'm going to pause it real quick. You can just see, it's out of focus, but you can see that he has a wedding ring on. That's the only reason really why this shot exists, is just to give you like just a sneak peek at, if you're paying attention, you can realize he is wearing a ring. And we don't even show her hand, but we just show that he is wearing a ring, indicating that he is married. So I'm gonna hit play. So big shout out to my friend Kelly Surfos. This is his house that we're shooting in right now, that's acting as like an Airbnb. And when I saw his house, I'm like, can we please shoot here? He was like, no one can shoot at my house ever. And I'm like, please let me do it. And he let me do it. So Kelly, thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Big hibachi grill, and it'll go right there.
Why on earth would we need that?
Oh, well, it's not.
So this part about the hibachi and all that is pretty much like it's just kind of a nod at one of my friends, Kevin Kanjan.
Get some knives and start practicing, but like some really good knives. You know those knives that you see on TV that can like cut right through a shoe? Yeah.
He cooks fried rice in his backyard, and I'm a big hibachi guy. Every birthday I have, I'm always like at a hibachi restaurant, and for a special occasion, I love just going to hibachi. So that's why that line is in there.
Throwing little pieces of shrimp into everybody's mouth. And if that can't happen, then I don't know if this relationship is going to work out.
Wow, okay.
Just saying.
Nice knowing you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna pause it. The butt hit is just, I think, is hilarious when a couple is like comfortable enough where like the chick can smack the dude's butt, and I just like we had that in there, and I had her try it, and it worked. So every take we did, I'm like, smack him on the butt, smack him harder. I thought that was just funny. I'm gonna hit play.
Oh, wait. No, I don't need that hibachi grill. All I need is you. Well, you and the shoe knife.
Can it really cut through a shoe?
I'm gonna pause it real quick. So if you let this first shot play, you would notice that they end up in the exact same area, as if they're kind of just like doing this like loop. And that's kind of a metaphor for what they're doing in their relationship. They're kind of like in this loop where they can't get out of. And I purposely kind of set this area up to kind of almost feel like it's almost like a relationship kind of rom-com, just to kind of mess with you a little bit. This line in particular about him saying,
all I need is you. Well, you and the shoe knife.
like that's campy. It's supposed to be corny. It's supposed to kind of set you up to be like, oh, I don't know. Is this movie gonna be like where, you know, I'm purposely kind of putting that in there, knowing it's kind of a corny line.
Oh, my bag's on fire.
Go get it!
Oh, God.
Fire!
Oh, God, no,
Fire!
I'm on fire. Help.
So this I'm on fire part, David Sullivan, who's an amazing actor, he improv that. Like when we ended the scene, it felt very like it needed a beat, it needed a button, and he just randomly said, "Oh, my bag's on fire!" And he looked at me afterwards, and he's just like, you know, because the hibachi table, and I'm like, oh, yeah, let's go. He's like, you want to keep that? I'm like, yeah, let's run that a few times. So every take after that, we did that. That was not written in. That was improv by David, and awesome job. Great work, David. Great work. So this scene with the in the cafe where it starts with the POV shots, this is purposely supposed to kind of disorient you a little bit. It's I know we're only like 4 minutes into the film and we haven't seen any POVs yet, but this is specifically supposed to make you feel like, why am I watching this? Why is it a POV shot? And I did this because it's like they are like hyper focused on acting, on bad acting, if you will. It's weird for telling a good actor to act bad, but this is the result. Them in this scene, which is great.
Chelsea, I can change.
Excuse me.
And then we break out of that kind of acting situation with the waitress coming in.
Yeah, we were just rehearsing our lines for when she breaks up with her boyfriend and we run away together.
Oh my God, I was gonna say.
So right here on the film, you will probably, if you're watching it for the first time, understand that they are now having an affair with one another.
I believe you said that.
Oh, I said it because it's true. Okay, wait. Okay, so where were we? I was squeezing your arm too tight.
And then we kind of revisit them kind of playing around, role playing a little bit. But Chelsea wants to take it seriously, and Brent does not.
Chelsea, I can change.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're fine, let's.
That bitch line came from a Key and Peele sketch that I absolutely love, that I reference all the time. So shout out to Key and Peele. That's where that bitch part came from. If you know what I'm talking about, cool. I'm not going to put it in the video though, because I will probably get a copyright ding. So don't want to do that. So this is at the lighthouse in Long Beach, California. I had my drone with me, and I just said, let me see what this would look like. So I put it up in the air, and I had them do a loop. And in post, we actually had to remove a good amount of people. There were people sitting there, and we couldn't tell them to move. We had permits and everything, but we couldn't just tell people to move. So I just said, it's okay. And we removed them in post. Movie magic.
Somebody would find me before the tide came in.
We did this with a really skeleton crew. I think in this specific scene, we had about like 5 people. That was it.
Like kind of the kinky stuff, you know?
So weird.
You know, I think she's local. I think I want to look her up.
No! You cannot have an additional affair with this harlot.
So right here, we kind of begin to tell the story a little bit deeper about their relationship. And yes, they are having an affair. And yes, what they said in the cafe was real about they're kind of plotting for her to leave her boyfriend. But here, we really see that like he loves her. Then they love each other. And he doesn't want this to just look like this is just a regular affair, that they really love each other.
We're not bad people because we want to be happy.
I know. You're right. Why couldn't I have been that girl at the beach when you were 12 years old? Can I just break the rule and vent about Charlie?
So whenever I write something, I try to think of like the backstory, like what happened like years before them. And I always imagine that in their backstory, they have this rule where even though that they are having an affair with one another, they don't talk about the other person at all. So they keep those completely separate. That's what the rule is. So here's a fun note. This entire sequence was shot on a Steadicam that broke right before we started shooting, but we couldn't stop. So I just said, let's go with it. And then when I looked at the footage in playback, it literally was like going like this. I'll show you some of the raw footage right here. That's what it looked like. And shout out to Wes Sanchez, who was my assistant editor, associate producer, and just overall awesome human being for jumping into After Effects and fixing it. The footage was so awful, and he was able to fix it and make it look super smooth. So thank you, Wes. You the man.
I'll never forget when I found out my wife watched Monk. Yeah, like actively watched it when it aired. And she would avoid the internet because she didn't want to see any spoilers.
You can tell in Brent's demeanor here that he's kind of upset with telling the story. He's kind of looking down and he's not so stoked about it. And then you see that all of a sudden she snaps him right out of it and he goes back into like, happy Brent.
Charlie finally saw the movie Borat this year.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so ever since he's been doing the impression all the time, it's almost like a nervous tick. I like this, I like that. Shut the fuck up, Charlie.
I know a few people who still do this, who still quote Borat, and it's awful. So I wanted to write this part in. I thought it was pretty funny.
What do you think you'd do if he asked you to marry him?
Oh, I'd run out the door.
So that line right there obviously is used further in the film. We will revisit that line later and see why that's specifically in there.
Okay. Gotta go.
Yeah. Well, hey, I liked this and our whole weekend extravaganza, whatever you want to call it.
Me too.
Little fake out here. She leaves the frame, leaves him to himself, and then all of a sudden, here she comes. Oh, big jump.
Oh, gosh.
Great little moment there. Very sweet, very intimate, very natural, very organic, vegan, friendly. The line that she uses here, which is,
We still gotta take that picture?
that line that she says is obviously like a callback to earlier in the film when she's like, we don't have any pictures together.
Do we have any pictures together?
That first line in the film should give you some kind of indication that something's going on. A few people who have watched this film told me that they guessed that it was like, oh, maybe he's a ghost or something. That's why they don't have photos. But no, that's not the case. I'm glad when people guess and when they are wrong. So when we shot this scene, it wasn't supposed to start in the hallway. When we loaded in, I was like, this is such a long hallway. Let's start this scene here. And I think it's just a lot cooler seeing her take that lonely walk down the hallway.
Hey, she returns, and just in time for some of Charlie's world-famous chicken parmigiana.
Ryan Garcia plays Charlie, and he is amazing. He has a theater background, and he is very just theatrical, and I'm like, please ham it up and do that. And just so how he moves around the room is very just like theatrical, and I love it. He's like a golden retriever of a human being as far as his role here with Charlie.
Prize for you.
What's this?
Those are our tickets to Jamaica. We leave on Tuesday. If you like drinking pina coladas.
Charlie, don't sing. What the fuck?
Well, what's wrong?
This whole scene was completely done on Steadicam. Every single movements we do is on Steadicam. One thing that I kind of messed up on here was I didn't set the clocks on the microwave every time. And you don't notice this. The only time that you would notice this is if you saw this in theaters. So when we screened it for the first time, I'm like, people looking at the clock. They weren't looking at the clock. That was just me being weird.
I hear you, and I see that you are.
So Michelle actually took a shot of whiskey there, and she does not like whiskey, but she's just like, let me just take it. And so this is a genuine reaction of her drinking whiskey, which is great. I love it. I love that she did that.
This is just all way too much. I just came home.
That is definitely my tripod bag right there. I forgot to move it.
Jamaica? I'm like,
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Whoa. Stuck. Hey, I'm taking you on vacation, all right? I'm sorry. Come here.
I love that she gives him this like half hug. It's just like, that's like, yeah. It kind of just shows how she feels about him.
So much about you, and I love being your boyfriend, but I can't help but feel like we're starting to outgrow this.
In this moment, Chelsea kind of plays it out in her head like, oh my God, like he's breaking up with me. This is actually happening. So there's like this long beat of her kind of just like backing up, being like, oh, you think? And it's like, I love that part because she's like, oh my God, this is my out. I'm good. I'm done.
Happy hour with clients. You know, my fantasy football is taking up a lot of my time.
So I wrote this line in because I don't know what fantasy football is to this day. I will probably never learn it. And I kind of wanted to put it in there just because like he's so passionate about it, but she's just like, yeah, okay, I don't care. So that's why that's in there.
To magically fix it. These past few years have been remarkable. And maybe being boyfriend and girlfriend was a really good thing that lasted too long.
Oh my God, she did it. She's getting him to break up with him. This is perfect. This is great. I love this moment.
and look, just because things lasted so long doesn't mean that we.
Oh yeah, here we are.
So what do you say? Will you be my wife?
So I'm going to pause it here real quick and go over a few different things. The Macy's ring, when we shot this, we shot, I think at like a 1.4, and we had to make the decision, what do we want to be in focus? The ring or the box? So we did both. We actually shot different plates of them both and kind of in After Effects blended them together. And then when he says the Borat line, this is just like this, the proposal, the ring from Macy's and the line from Borat, this kind of causes her to go into this like ultimate panic mode. And we have this kind of like very disorienting, hard zoom in on her, and we hear this, the proposal in the background with a lot of reverb, and you see that she's about to like pass out here. That's the kind of vibe that I wanted to have, that she's just almost gonna get like sick in front of him. She closes the ring, she runs out, exactly what she said she'd do earlier.
What do you think you'd do if he asked you to marry him?
I'd run out the door.
Boom. So when I was doing pre-pro with this movie, I really wanted to shoot in an aquarium. I was like, we need to do it. And this one, I remember I was actually at this aquarium unrelated to the film, and I saw this area. I'm like, I have to shoot here. I need to do this. So we did it. It was definitely out of my budget. I self-funded this film, and it was very expensive, even to shoot there for like an hour and a half. But this is priceless to me. This is one of my favorite scenes in the film, let alone that I've ever done, ever.
I ran, just like I said I would.
Whoa, you nailed it. You actually called that. Hey, when you look into your crystal ball, do you see that hibachi grill?
Can you not hibachi grill this?
Once again, Brent is kind of joking around. He's not taking things seriously. Brent is a jokester, and she doesn't like it, and she's had enough.
Look, I can't keep feeling this freedom with you and then go back to feeling trapped in our relationships. And I'm not gonna have any freedom if I'm married.
This back and forth was shot with two cameras, just 250 millimeters, pretty close up on them. The dialogue is going to happen pretty quickly, and they're going to jump back and forth, so that's why I needed to cover it with two cameras, because I knew that they'd be all over each other on the dialogue.
It's different.
No.
My situation.
No.
It's different because
No,
my
it's
wife.
not.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
Yeah.
not. No, it's not.
Okay.
So when we shot here, there were still people like in the aquarium, and it was pretty annoying that like we couldn't get everyone out. So when Michelle was like yelling here, it was causing people to like when they walked by to be like, oh my God, they're fighting.
But I
Oh my
can't
God.
just sit here and wait. I can't. This is it. I need to know if you're in this with me. And if you're not, I'm just gonna pack my shit and move into a fucking RV for the next year until I can save enough money for a down payment on a condo.
So that line is in there because About 2.5 years ago, I told myself that I would never rent property again, that I just needed to buy something, and I would literally live in a van or an RV before I rent it again. So that is why that line is in there, which I love.
On the weekends, and no more not holding my hand in public, and no.
Brent. You're my person, you idiot.
The original line here was just "you are my person," but I was like, call him an idiot, because that's just the kind of relationship that they have, and his little like giggle afterwards is awesome. It like really works. So right here is another drone shot that I did. We didn't shoot this on the day of principal photography. That's a very fancy term, by the way. We did this like a week or two later. I felt like I needed to like have a moment and a beat to establish them kind of coming in, and I felt there's just like this weirdness of being overhead like that kind of is a little bit creepy, of the cars kind of coming into frame. So yeah.
Just give me a few minutes, okay?
Snow will be here when you're done. I'm not going anywhere.
That line right there from Michelle is the last line she will say throughout the film. And this whole moment is pretty long. There's no dialogue for like, I think 2 minutes. The soundtrack for this film, by the way, was made by Hisham Dahoud, who goes by Rizik. He's amazing. He's not only one of my best friends, but he's an amazing composer. And the collaboration we did on this film together was very intimate and awesome. And I bothered him a lot because I had a very specific vision, but he's so talented. He took whatever I said and just turned it into this whole soundtrack. He did everything for this regarding the music. The soundtrack for this film, by the way, is out. You can go check it out. Just search "You Are My Person" by Rizik. It's there. Go listen to it. It's amazing. So if you're watching this, I am assuming that you have seen the film, so I'm not going to spoil anything. But yeah, this moment right here is definitely supposed to disorient you and make you feel like this is the wife. I only showed her kind of body for just like about 1.5, 2 seconds, and that's to kind of just like give you a taste that this might not be her. This might be someone else. By the way, we shot this in December, so there was Christmas lights up. No one really notices the fact that there are like lights up because a lot of them are out of focus, but the one thing that kind of bothers me, I mean, I could take it out in post, but yeah, Christmas lights, yeah. When she comes into the door, I wanted to hold in the shot for just like a long while and have like this slow creep in on her. With the slow creep in, with the music, with the sound effects, I wanted the audience to kind of build what they thought was on the other side of the frame. This look that Brent gives has so much weight to it, I feel. And we only did it once. And he's like, "Do you want me to do it again?" I'm like, "No, that's all we need." By the way, we shot this scene at my house. This is it. Not this room, but we shot over there. Now for the sad stuff. So one note that I get often is that Emily, who was Brent's wife, looks too beautiful. However, in their backstory, I wanted there to be this like kind of a friendship with her and the nurse, because I heard one time someone say something along the lines of like, "Oh, if I ever die, or if I'm ever dying, please make me look good, or for my funeral, please let me make me look real or good." And I imagine that the nurse and Emily have this relationship where the nurse takes care of her, and like, even though that Emily's dying, that she'll still do her makeup for her and still make her look pretty, even though she's right now like unconscious and dying.
Important person that I've ever met. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about that. And I can't be alone forever. And I can't spend another day hoping for a future that's never gonna happen. You were right.
Serious shout out to both these actors for being able to do everything they did and not only the film, but in this scene in particular.
I need to live
We shot this
a real
scene
life.
last.
And,
So after this sequence, like the film was done, and even though it wasn't conducive and efficient for the film, I was like, these characters are going to break in half during this performance. They're going to, I can't do anything after this sequence. I need to give them a massive break or just be done with the film. So sure enough, this was the last, in chronological order, this was the last part of the film that we shot. So after this, we were all like, yeah, happy. And half the crew was bawling their eyes out during all these takes. David, who plays Brent, only did about 3 or 4 takes. I didn't want to burn him out because he went for it, and he destroyed himself on set. And so did Michelle. They really
and for me.
took years off of their lives by doing this performance, I'm convinced. So the paperwork that Brent is jumping into is like a DNR, do not resuscitate. Yeah, so that's what this is. And you can tell in Michelle's expression that she kind of knows what he's doing as well.
I'll file the paperwork in the morning.
So here's the last shot of the film, which is like the best thing I think I've ever shot ever. It's a slow push in on Chelsea's face, and she is just like in awe. She doesn't know what just hit her, and how she accepts the second hug is just like, it's like a punch to the gut. She doesn't know what to think. She doesn't know what to say. She's been crying. She's upset. And this little eye shut and flutter, ooh, it says so much. And the music that happens right there, I paid so much attention to detail with this last track. And I think it's important because I think how you end a film is very important. It's what you leave the audience with. And that big, strong moment with this amazing score that accompanies it, I suggest to anyone who's out there who wants to go make a film, go do it, because I slept on this for way too long. I had this idea for about 5 years, and I just finally got pushed and said, I am making this, and I finally made it. That is the film, you guys. Thanks for watching. I think I covered a lot. I probably missed a lot of little Easter eggs here and there. I did a lot on this film. I self-funded it. I did not have really any financial help from anyone. This was so much fun to make, and the end result was perfect. When we were done with the film, in the last shot, I went into my room because we shot in my house, and I actually cried for a little bit because I was so happy that we got it in the can and we did it. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. I will probably be making more follow-up videos and content surrounding this film because I just love talking about it, and I think that how I made it was really interesting. So, cool. I'm out. Till next time, thanks for watching. Bye.